Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. One of the easiest and practical ways to find out if the mass media, the authorities, the politicians are lying to you is to look at their statements. Read their statements, memorize the statements this way. Is this a statement, a positive statement regarding an issue or a negative? And let's say I'm going to give you an example. So we work on one example. The example would be, for instance, Ukraine or Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. I almost guarantee you that you have not written almost anything, I would say nothing actually, negative about Zelensky's character. I guarantee you that you haven't read in the Western media, which is the free mass media. We have freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom of press. You haven't heard anything negative about Zelensky or Ukraine. I'm almost certain that you haven't heard about, let's say, Zelensky lacking strength, or being stupid, or, I don't know, being irresolute, or resolute, or uncertain or some moves, or maybe ugly, or maybe short, or maybe, I don't know, didn't wash his hands after he uses the bathroom. Something like this. I guarantee you, you never heard anything negative about this person in character. Nothing. That would make him perfect. Now, again about Ukraine. I guarantee you, you haven't heard anything that Ukraine might have done negative against Russia. I guarantee you never heard anything about Ukraine doing anything bad or causing any problems or maybe being the subject of, any provocation that might, make the Russians react in a criminal way or anything like that. I guarantee you haven't heard that one. Again, that would make Ukraine as a state perfect. I guarantee you never heard anything negative about Zaluzny, about Zmihal, about Reznikov, about Yermak, about Budanov, about Ignat. I can give you names and names. I guarantee you can't name one flaw of character in any of these guys. Isn't that strange? Now, you lived a life, you're an adult. You went around the block a few times. So you know that in your experience you met people where people have, positive things in character and negatives. So how is it possible that these guys you never met have only positives, only qualities, no defects whatsoever? Don't let anybody tell you that, this is the person when your experience tells you something else. Now, this is one way. The other way is look at the other side. For instance, let's say you get Vladimir Putin and Russia. Again, qualities? Let's say Putin. Let's take Putin, that guy. Tell me 5 positive things that you heard, or 3 positive things, good traits of character of Putin that you heard in the mass media. Okay, yeah, all right. I heard them all. I'm going to repeat them to you. All right, I just did. So, the same. That's an impossibility. Why? Because your life, your experience must tell you that any person that you met in your life has ups and downs. Now, let me put it against the person that you love the most. Could be one of your parents, could be one of your children, could be your wife, could be your husband. These are the people that most likely you love the most. Or maybe yourself. Let's say you love yourself. You must find at least 3 negatives. You must, but somehow the mass media cannot find one or two or three in Zelensky, in Ukraine. But everything else on the other side cannot find you a positive. Take Prigozhin. He's a bad dude. Give me three traits of character, or one, that the mass media in your country, the free world, gave you about that guy. I guarantee you there's nothing. So therefore you know your mass media is lying, because it's impossible. The person that you love most and you think is the most valuable in your life, the most valuable person in your life, you still can find defects. But somehow you didn't meet Zelensky. And you met Putin. So it's pak. So just think about it, my friends. Your direct experience and knowledge is not inferior to another person who's an editor, or a journalist, a person who writes articles for a living, for money, for a company that has a certain kind of, direction, if you know what I mean. Don't let yourself be buffaloed into thinking that that person must know more than you know, including teachers. Everything is based on evidence, my friends. If I meet a PhD in history, I don't give that person superiority in history whatsoever. I don't. You know what is going to give him superiority? When he is going to know more than I do. When he's going to know more than I do, then yes. Until then, your diploma, good job. Very good. Very good. That's an achievement. But let's talk now. I suggest you do the same thing with all these weasels, and don't, how should I put it nicely? I don't want to insult anybody tonight, including you. Don't put yourself in an inferior position just because some people might have titles, or they work for this company or that company. Because if you would meet probably those people, let's say from New York Times or whatever, Reuters, people who write articles, you might find out they are not impressive at all. They're just an advice. This is what I found through my life. Unfortunately, I also had to fight defects given to me by my family, by my school, by my peers. But I overcame, if you know what I mean, I overcame those things. Because I realized those guys were still in the same framework. It's like you escape a prison. Think for yourselves and just realize there's no perfect human being. So if you have, let's say, the schools telling you that, let's say I'm going to pick Martin Luther King Jr., Dr., Reverend, so on. You don't hear almost anything bad about that person. Well, you know that he's got some negative somewhere. I'm not going to mention them, but I can do that for you if you want. Communist, infidelity, and other stuff. Okay, now that's not a good thing. Being a reverend, doing certain hanky-panky, being with a communist, and so on. Okay, that's not a good thing, however you want it. So therefore, we have myths. These guys create myths. You want another one? You can take, for instance, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was just laying down, see how nicely I put it, with children. With teenagers, I think 13-year-old, some relatives, just to test his strength of not, you know what I mean? Besides, just read that incident that he did not allow his wife to take antibiotics because that was against, let whatever heal you. But when he was sick, guess what he did? So again, you can look at every person, every myth that I didn't mention these guys just to take a poop on them. I can mention anyone, including this guy, of course, with a lot of shit in the past and all that. And in the future, we're going to continue making mistakes. So this is an easy way to realize that you are, and we are, lied by these guys. That's an impossibility. Okay? Now, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.